Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial where I will show you how to get started with TypeScript using nodeJS. First of all, we're going to start installing TypeScript. We're going to install it in the global system so it can be used everywhere first. And with this now we should have access to the command tsc, which is the TypeScript compiler, and we check the version. Indeed, we're using version 2.7.2. So now we're going to create some files. I'm going to do here a test TS, which is the default extension for TypeScript source code. And I'm going to do a new function that says hello. And it's just going to output a simple message to the terminal. So if we use now TypeScript to compile it, to transpile it actually, you will see that it has created a test.js file. It creates a JavaScript file from the TypeScript file. And if we open it, you can see there's no difference here. What TypeScript helps us to do is to do type checking. So for example, if I were to say that the hello function can only get a string parameter, and I would misuse this function by giving, for instance, a number inside, when you try to compile it, you get an error message saying here the argument 111 cannot be assigned because he expects a string. So this is basically how TypeScript works, to changing TypeScript files into JavaScript doing type checking. Now you probably don't want to have TypeScript installed globally. Maybe you want to declare it inside your project and just enforce maybe a version of TypeScript. To do this, first we're going to uninstall the global version of TypeScript. And let's start first of all a new npm node project. We do this with npm init, and I'm going to take all the default values here. Okay. So now we should have a package.json. I'm going to delete the TypeScript file that I have here and the JavaScript file as well. And here we have our package.json. It's very clean, it has nothing new. So we're going to first install TypeScript, and we're going to save it as a dependency for development. And now you should see that a node modules folder has been created with the TypeScript folder, and the package.json has in their development dependencies TypeScript included. Now this means that we cannot call TypeScript simply on the terminal. It will give us an error, but all the binaries to run TypeScript are inside the folder nodemodules.bin, and here you can see tsc is there. And we have exactly the same version. So now we could run, for instance, the command nodemodules.bin.tsc and then our file.ts. But this is kind of a long way to write it, so we're going to do something else. First of all, we're going to create a better structure for our project. We're going to first create a source folder where all our TypeScript will live, and then we're going to create a dist folder where all the distributable code is going to live. Now we want to call the compiler in a shorter way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the package.json and we're going to create a new script. I'm going to call it transpile, and what it will do will be TypeScript, and this will be the command that will transpile the source files into the distributables. Now, how this command will know where is the origin data and where is supposed the distributable to be, that will be achieved creating a new file that we will call tsconfig.json. In this file, we're going to declare an object which will have some attributes like compiler options, where we are going to define that the output directory is going to be dist. We're going to say that it has to include all the files within the folder source asterisk alt TypeScript files, and we're going to say as well that it has to exclude all the files that he will find inside node modules, since those are not our files. Those are files from our libraries. So if I think everything's correct, now running our script there, tsc should take automatically the configuration within tsconfig and compile everything automatically. So let's do a new file in source called index.ts, where we will make again a function hello with a message that has to be string, and again we output the message. And we call it once again. I wrote here hell, this is not correct, hello. And now let's try running our script. So now if we open the this folder, we can see that a GS file has been compiled from the TS file. So everything so far looks correct. Now let's do something a little more advanced. Let's say that we are building a web server and we want the port to be described as an environment variable like this. Here we are saying that the port has to be the value of an environment variable named port, or if it doesn't exist, 3000. Oh, sorry, I wrote this in the JavaScript file. I was meant to write it in the TypeScript file. Here, correct. Let's delete the JavaScript file because we don't need that now. Okay, so here we have our TypeScript code. You will notice that we have process, and already my editor is telling me that I cannot find process, but let's run the transpiler anyway. And as you see, it says the same thing. We cannot find the name process. And this is because TypeScript does not know that we are transpiling our code in a nodeJS environment. Since it doesn't know that we are using nodeJS, it doesn't know that process is already a variable available in our API. So it will give us an error. To fix this, we only have to install a package, which is called, if I recall correctly, types/node. Okay, that's been installed, and we check our package.json, and it's here. And now my editor is already not marking it as an error. Now the TypeScript transpiler knows that there is a process variable because it knows the Node.js API, and it will not mark it as an error. If we go to the terminal and we try to transpile it, there you go, no error messages, and in the JavaScript file we have the same output. Perfect. Next thing we're going to try is to add a linter to our project because we want to lint our code and make sure we're not making any syntax errors or we're not doing any bad practices. So for that I'm going to install eslint. Now eslint is downloading, and now that it's downloaded, it's available as well as the TypeScript compiler under node modules bin eslint. So we will run this with the argument init, and this will create a configuration file in our folder. First, you have here three options. I'm going to use a popular style guide, and I'm going to use the standard one, which I want the configuration file in YAML, but that's only a preference of your taste. And now that I have decided what kind of configuration I want with eslint, you can see that it is downloading some extra dependencies so that my configuration can run without a problem. Has here downloaded the plugin standard and promises, the configuration standard, and more dependencies. If we go to our package.json, you should see here, you see all these dependencies have been included in your package.json. So now, let's go back to our code. And let's do something, let's write some code that it is not linted. Let's make, for example, a function hello again with, again, the message, which is a string. But this time we're going to create a variable that will not be used. And then output again our code. So this code should be detected for the linter to tell us that we have a variable that we are not using. So now we could create in our package.json a script that says lint, and all it does is to make eslint, and we say in which folder should the linting happen. And we're going to say that the extensions have to be Typescript.ts. So now we could go to our terminal and just make npm run lint. And this should give us the errors. But there is a problem here. It says parsing error, unexpected token 2 points. And this is because index.ts here, it has the 2 points declaring the type of the message, but the eslinter, it's linting it as if it was a JavaScript file. We have to say to the linter, no, you're not going to clean a JavaScript file, you're going to clean a TypeScript file. And for that, we have to add another dependency. We're going to add a dependency that tells to TypeScript to use the eslint using a special parser. To do this, we're going to go again to the terminal and do npm install save dependency, and we're going to install TypeScript eslint parser. And now it's installed. And to say to eslint that it has to use this parser, we're going to go to the configuration file, and we are going to add parser is TypeScript eslint parser. We save, and if I have done no errors, now it should work. Let's do npm run lint. And as you see now, there is a lot more messages and it looks much better. Here we say that the function is defined but it's never used. It's saying it's missing space. The indentation is 2 spaces, but it should be 1 tab, and many other errors that your linter is detecting. And this is basically how you start a TypeScript project using Node.js. You add the dependencies to use TypeScript and the proper module to know that we're using Node.js. Then you add the linter and run its configuration so that it adds all the dependencies that it needs. And finally, you add the parser just so eslint know how to parse TypeScript code. That's everything. I hope it was as helpful for you as it was for me to discover it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!